It is Sunday, the 24th of June, 2018. I'm in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, just in the middle of my protest against Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and cover-up and denial of clergy abuse and various other Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy. What is that sign? Yeah, good question. Good question. Okay. Anyhow, the kid's saying, what is that sign? So I said, good question. I guess that's his father.
Allô?
Bonjour.
Je suis déjà passé, je suis français.
Oui.
Et j'ai vu cette église il y a quelques jours et ça m'avait surpris tous les symboles.
Oui.
Donc c'est quoi?
Ouais, c'est très intéressant. Je vais te montrer les symboles juste pour expliquer. C'est une église unitarienne. Et...
Parce que j'en ai jamais entendu parler en France.
Oui, ouais, c'est juste un petit secte qui n'est pas très connu, surtout en Europe. C'est surtout une église américaine. Ça a été en Europe aussi. Mais de toute façon, quand vous voyez c'est écrit « Vivre ensemble »,
oui.
Alors c'est ça, ils essaient de promouvoir oui, ils sont en train de promouvoir le vivre ensemble entre les religions.
D'accord.
Alors, à gauche, vous avez le symbole yin-yang.
Ouais.
Ça, c'est pour, je pense, le taoïsme.
D'accord.
Vous avez la croix pour chrétianisme.
Après, je connais pas.
Pardon?
Je connais pas le troisième.
Le troisième, ça c'est ce que je veux t'expliquer. Ça, c'est le symbole pour les humanistes.
D'accord.
Les humanistes,
Ah, oui,
c'est ça. Mais ce que vous devez comprendre, c'est que les humanistes, c'est un mot qui effectivement sont des athées. Alors, ils incluent les athées là-dedans. Alors, il y a l'islam, il y a le sikhisme, si je ne me trompe pas, il y a le judaïsme, il y a le chalisme pour Unitarian,
okay.
Universalism. Puis, je pense que c'est un A pour...
athée.
Exact. Et non, c'est exactement ça. Puis après, le symbole, après les athées, ça c'est pour bouddhisme.
D'accord.
Puis vous avez le pentagramme pour les païens.
Ah d'accord.
Puis vous avez le Om pour hindouisme. Puis vous avez le symbole pour...
c'est les autochtones.
Exact.
D'accord.
Alors ils essaient de dire que tout le monde est bienvenu, tout le monde devrait vivre ensemble. Et l'Église unitarienne, au début, c'était une église des chrétiens qui ont nié la doctrine de la Trinité.
D'accord.
Un peu comme les témoins de Jéhovah. Okay? Mais ça a évolué ou dévolué jusqu'au point qu'au milieu du 20e siècle, la grande majorité des Unitariens étaient athées. Et un certain montant étaient des athées intolerants. Ça, c'est une des raisons pourquoi je suis ici.
Il y a beaucoup de monde?
Ça dépend, vraiment pas beaucoup. Vous pouvez y aller, vous pouvez... tout le monde est bienvenu, évidemment. Alors,
je vais à une autre là-bas.
OK, mais c'est ça. Alors, c'est ça. De toute façon, c'est l'hypocrisie parce qu'ils ne vivent pas ensemble, ils ne vivent pas en harmonie avec moi.
Et puis vous êtes de quel groupe?
J'étais un membre de l'Église,
okay.
Mais j'ai été attaqué par le pasteur.
D'accord.
Le pasteur était une de ces athées purs et durs dont j'ai parlé, un athée intolerant. Moi, je réclame une expérience religieuse. J'ai essayé d'initier une fête interreligieuse pour promouvoir en français, c'est pas parfait. Pour promouvoir comme un Earth Day, mais religieux. Ça veut dire que care for the creation, pour ne pas faire
c'est de protection de l'environnement ou...
C'est ça, okay. C'est ça, mais dans un sens religieux.
D'accord.
Puis il a traité ça comme, en anglais, cult. Ouais. Mais cult en anglais, ça veut dire secte, c'est très péjoratif. Il m'a traité de psychotique parce que je réclame une expérience religieuse. Il a dit que mes croyances théistiques étaient débiles et des fantaisies. Parce qu'il est un athée pur et dur, il ne croit pas que Dieu existe. Alors ça, ma manif a débuté à cause de ça, mais j'ai trouvé aussi qu'il y a des problèmes d'abus sexuels, pas nécessairement localement ici, mais dans l'église plus large. Alors j'ai ajouté ça à mon manif aussi.
Ça marche.
Bonne journée. Oui. Bonne journée. Vous aussi. So there we just had a French person from France who, wanted to know what the purple banner above the entry of the Unitarian Church of Montreal was, so I explained it to him. And yeah, we'll have a look at that. I didn't mess around with the camera while I was talking to him. That's him down the end there. So let's have a look at the banner here. So it says vivre ensemble, which literally means live together, and it obviously means live together in a good way. And over on the right in English it says live in harmony, so that's essentially what it means. And they're basically trying to promote all of the different religious beliefs, or even non-religious beliefs, specifically humanism and atheism, to live together. In other words, to live in harmony. Well, my protest outside the church here began as a protest against the fact that the fundamentalist atheist minister of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, Reverend Ray Drennan, couldn't seem to live in harmony with me. I had a meeting with Reverend Ray Drennan in which I was trying to explain a religious experience to him, and also to try to explain an interreligious event that I'd organized, inspired largely by that religious experience. And he rudely interrupted me as I was beginning my attempt to explain things to him, and said it's all silliness and fantasy. And he was talking basically about my religious beliefs and my claim of religious experience. So he just dismissed it all as silliness and fantasy before we even got started. But I'm the kind of guy that, I can sort of let that just more or less roll off my back, in others, not to get too incensed about it immediately. I can always deal with that kind of thing later. And so I continued on, and I started explaining the religious experience to him. And he again rudely interrupted me as I was trying to explain the religious experience and said, "You mean your psychotic experience?" and followed that up by demanding that I seek professional help. So he's essentially saying you're psychotic and you need, psychiatric treatment. So, again, I can't say I was very happy about that, but I'm the kind of person who has pretty good control over his emotions and everything. So I just took note of that and continued on, and was explaining the interreligious event to Reverend Ray Drennan, when again he rudely interrupted me and said, "You mean your cult?" And I'm a pretty even-handed kind of person. It was pretty obvious he meant it in the worst possible sense, but I gave him a chance to explain himself. So I said, "What do you mean by cult, Ray?" And he came back with, "I mean a manipulative and secretive religious group," which just confirmed my assessment, that he meant cult in pretty much the worst sense of the word. So that's, basically where, I'm not going to say my problems with the Unitarian Church of Montreal began, because there were other things that happened before Ray Drennan attacked me, but they were more with the leadership, the lay leadership of the church, not the minister. When I joined the church, it was a Christian Unitarian Universalist minister by the name of David B. Park, and he was actually quite welcoming, and he kept the wolves at bay, as it were. But when Reverend Ray Drennan came in, he very quickly showed his intolerance and bigotry, and basically made slanderous accusations about me that other leading members of the church were already making behind my back. He just said it to my face. Anyhow, that's where where I decided to file a formal complaint against Reverend Ray Drennan, hoping that the church locally and also the head office in Boston would agree that he should retract his insulting and defamatory comments and apologize for them. But of course they did no such thing. So, after a few years worth of letter writing and so on, in fact I was kicked out for 6 months for doing nothing more than writing one more letter of grievance than the leadership of the church wanted to throw in the recycling bin without reading it, most likely. So I was kicked out, for 6 months for essentially just depositing a letter of grievance into the internal letter boxes of the board members. So I took that pill, and I came back after 6 months and made it clear that there's still a problem. Nothing's being resolved. You kicked me out for 6 months, but the problems that we had 6 months ago are still there, still need to be resolved. And try to get the church to deal responsibly with the issues, but of course they didn't. So in May of 1998, just over 20 years ago, I began protesting outside the church. And I expected my protest to last, a few weeks, maybe a month or two or three, before the Unitarians came to their senses and realized that the best thing to do would be to deal with the issues. But that didn't happen, and here we are 20 years later, more than 20 years later, still protesting outside the Unitarian Church in Montreal. So there's much more to be said about that, but I noticed my sensor's overheating, so I'm going to shut this down for a bit. We'll see if anything happens with this person coming towards the church, but when this, okay, that's it. So I'm shutting the camera down now to let the sensor cool off, and I'll start up again shortly.